Hi everyone, this is meowmurai. Let's check out Over Horizon Cross Steel Empire, running on Nintendo Switch. Now, this is a collection of games that were available on the NES, which is Over Horizon. Kind of a later release in the NES's lifetime, but very impressive graphically. And then we have like a collection of the Steel Empire games, of which you could get some of these individually. But this kind of combines all the different versions into one collection. So it's primarily Steel Empire, since that had like a bunch of different versions. But then you get like Over Horizon as a bonus. Yeah, let's check this out. All right, got some wallpaper options. We're just not going to do any of those. We don't really need that. I have an OLED, so not too worried about the the burn-in on the sides. Okay, looks like we have a rewind and samurai mode. Oh, okay, nice. You can just unlock this without having to use the code. Katana style, huh? Alright, I think I covered this, the original version on the channel, quite a while back. But again, if you don't have the means to play NES games, then this is kind of nice to be able to play this one. And you know, I mean, even if you have a means to play NES games, you may not have the ability to do rewinds and different features like you would in this game. So there is some advantage to playing this version. Again, as far as graphics go, very impressive for the NES. Get my ass handed to me. This is actually not that difficult of a game. It's pretty easy to learn. I'm just doing terrible, that's all. It has been a number of months since we played it. Hold on a minute. Okay. Again, very impressive. Lots of big sprites, animated sprites. Then you have objects in front of each other and behind each other. Really good color. I'm not super into the background music, but I think it's pleasant enough. Yeah, overall, impressive little game. Again, especially for its time. And it's not a game that would have been on a lot of people's radar with the Super Nintendo out in Japan. It's coming on the kind of the end of that system's life, the NES's life. But that's also why it's a very impressive looking game. And again, it's nice to have the ability to play this on a modern system. Otherwise, this game would actually cost you quite a fortune if you were to try to hunt this down. And if you were starting from zero, trying to find a working NES and a working copy of this game, challenging for sure. Not single shot enemies. All right, there's quite a few games in this collection, so let's get back to the original Steel Empire. So this was looks like this is the North American version, since it's published by Flying Edge. We have the Game Boy Advance version, the Mega Drive version, the Game Boy Advance Japanese version. So let's check out the. Looks like these are in order of release too. So yeah, let's check out the original. This is actually one of my favorite games. Really, because the visuals, you know, this you know, the sort of steampunk aesthetic is pretty cool. Not a lot of games have this kind of look to it. Certainly nothing that was, you know, released in this time period. Is that really the... Yeah, okay. God, it looks so stretched out, but I guess not. I said this did get a separate release, this version specifically, with these kind of enhancements, and the sequel. But you know, it's kind of nice having all the versions in one little collection, and at you know, a very reasonable price. I mean, this is $15 normally, and you know, if you buy it this week, then you're getting 10% off of that. So again, very reasonable. And they're not just bare-bone ports, you know, again, they offer rewinds and, you know, different aspect ratios. You know, based on Over Horizon, you know, it runs really good. Yeah, these are what we used to consider story back in these days. Let's go for the Zeppelin.
Good luck.
Yeah, I think it's excellent scaling, and the visuals look, you know, really nice and crisp. Probably better than they did on the original system, quite frankly. Yeah, the animation is spot on. And it has that little bit of slowdown that was in the original version as well. Yes, believe it or not every Genesis game ran at a flawless 60 frames. Alright, good times. Alright, we have the Game Boy Advance version, which again, very expensive to get this game, if you're looking for a copy for yourself to play. Right, we have all the same kind of options. Got some cheats if you want them. Yeah, and obviously there had to be some cutbacks from the Mega Drive game to the Game Boy Advance, so. But I believe they altered some missions as well in this version. Excuse me. Pick the striker this time. Again, to kind of fit this into the Game Boy Advance resolution, and it's a little challenging, but you know, I think it's mostly preserved. And really, it feels more like a sequel to Steel Empire than a conversion. Again, they did a really good job of kind of rethinking the game. You know, because a full screen version of a game is doesn't necessarily translate well to a handheld version. You know, you have to make different graphic concessions, and where you place enemies, and how large they're going to be. Yeah, again, very impressive. Like I said, it's more of a sequel to Steel Empire than it is a conversion. Of course, there was a full-blown sequel as well. Again, that was available last year, which we covered. Yeah, it may look a little blocky, kind of blown up on your modern Switch console, but I don't think it's too bad in handheld mode. Depending on the size of your TV, maybe it looks a little rough, but you know, again, at the time, you know, very, very impressive. And again, the way they kind of rethought it on the Game Boy Advance, I think it plays pretty well. Right. Then we have the Mega Drive version, which again I think it's pretty close to the North American version.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like so much more vivid than my memories of it on the you know, using an old CRT and with the Mega Drive's video output. I think it's easy to forget how inferior that the old CRT technology could be as far as representing colors. You know, not ever quite getting the correct colors right, or maybe the colors would fade in and out of the corners of the screen. I see some of the folks over in Digital Foundry, you know, have kind of a weird love affair with the old CRT, not really factoring in the you know, the rampantly different quality of displays of CRTs. You know, the size and the expense and the weight of the old CRT. It very much was an unsustainable display technology. You know, everybody was looking for a way to get you know, better, more consistent color and not quite as much flicker. You know, so we had plasmas and we had I'm trying to think of some of the other technologies. I remember going through quite a few of them as CRTs were being phased out. Yeah, I mean, plasma stayed for a long time. And in some corners, you know, there's still the desire to have plasma TVs as reference displays. I think Panasonic still makes those for you know, professional images and calibration. But you know, prohibitively expensive for an average person to buy or even have space for. Yeah, the Trinitrons were very notorious for how heavy they were. And even then, I never thought the color was as good as like the Panasonics, even at the time. And now I think Panasonic is pretty much the only manufacturer that still makes the plasma sets for professional use, not really for commercial use. Although I guess that's changed in the last couple of years, where it's possible to buy their plasma reference sets as a consumer. But I mean, you're talking about $25,000 for a set. Not exactly super reasonable. And again, when I think back to the Mega Drive or Genesis output, when you're looking at something just component cable, or sorry, composite cables, not even component. And in my dreams, I could have gotten it to look like this. This would have been very difficult to achieve without having many thousands of dollars. Money in 1991. The compatibility? What do you mean? Yeah, the thing is, it's interesting how much English there is in the game. Considering this is not the English release. Obviously, the opening had mostly Japanese, but like the actual game itself just has a lot of English in here. And yeah, that slowdown was present in the original Mega Drive release. That's not an emulation bug. I think newer players are shocked to see that if they haven't played a lot of older games. Especially since the Genesis was, or the Mega Drive was known to have a very, very fast processor. Which is basically the same processor that was in the Commodore Amiga line of games. I mean, this is the Switch version, so yeah. Yeah, nowadays we worry about screen tearing. I think that's the thing that we complain about. So VRR kind of comes into mind, or a judder. That's another big problem that we face with modern OLEDs and LCDs. But the color representation, the color reproduction is usually pretty good, depending on where you buy your TV, right, or who you buy it from. I think that's hard to say if the output would know. I think I mean, you usually have a scaler in between you and a Genesis if you want to put it on a modern display. Usually, I think a modern TV would not have a good scaler, and it would look pretty terrible. But again, this is why it's nice to have this sort of collection where the emulation is really, really good, and you don't have to worry about the headache of having an original system. The expense of having an original system as well. These games are pretty expensive. Some of these effects, like this dithering, which is supposed to look transparent. I mean, it looks a little bit different on a CRT. I think the Japanese version is a little easier. I don't remember having such an easy time on the North American version. I mean, the North American version is not a hard game either. Yes. I know I'm not a super fan of the Genesis sound chip. I know a lot of people do like it, but it was pretty rare to have a Genesis game sound really, really good. Like, has some just excellent standout sound, especially if they were using the North American development kits, where everything just kind of sounded like a terrible scratchy sound. But this was earlier in the life, and Japanese developers, they tended to have a little bit better luck with it. Okay, so this is the Game Boy Advance, the Japanese version of the Game Boy Advance. Again, I think this is largely the same as the North American release. I think they're just really including it here just for completeness. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Game Boy Advance sound, I don't know how much better it is than the Mega Drive sound. I think it's a matter of taste, but I don't really like the sound as much on the Game Boy Advance version. Oh, this is all English. That's interesting. I thought there would be more Japanese in this release. I mean, the title screen, yeah. I'm sure the options are in Japanese as well. Nope, those are in English. That's interesting. Yeah, this was a really good version, going from the Mega Drive into the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, visually it is better on the Game Boy Advance. You don't get as much screen real estate because the resolution is lower, but overall, like, the color and the scrolling are all better. And the gameplay is a little bit more balanced. The original Mega Drive release kind of had a weird difficulty spike. And again, it's not like it's a hard game, but it was just kind of strange how it got really easy and then really difficult and then back to really easy. I think it's more even in the Game Boy Advance version. Yeah, this is basically the North American version. I don't really see much difference at this point in time. Honestly, it's just nice to be able to play the game again without breaking out the Game Boy Advance, because my eyes aren't getting any better looking at that tiny Game Boy Advance screen with the tiny little buttons. I mean, there's days I don't want to relive. And kind of depending on what Game Boy Advance you got, like if you had like the OG Game Boy Advance, or if you had the GBA Lite, your experience would be drastically different. I love these old games where they just flash the screen everywhere. Nowadays we're much more sensitive on the screen flashing and screen shaking. But these days, man, if you dislike screen flashing at all, they were probably hell for you. I just think it's funny to look at it again. I mean, I don't have problems with screen flashing, but it is funny to see how images have changed over the years. Yeah, this is the better version. I mean, between the Mega Drive and the Game Boy Advance, overall it's the better version. But again, this stuff is expensive to buy. Like, it's unreasonable how much retro gaming has leaped in price. but more people are interested in it. So, like, it's kind of good that people love to play playable games, but it's also bad because now the market is drastically different. Yeah, again, I didn't expect these versions to be poor in any way because they the release of the Steel Empire sequel was done by the same team, and quite frankly, they've really got the Game Boy Advance and the Genesis emulation down pretty well on the Switch. Yeah, to me, this kind of emulation is better than playing the original. I mean, there are diehards out there that want to have the original vision. Playing it on the CRT with the with the original composite outputs, playing on that mushy on those mushy D-pads that are microscopic compared to D-pads nowadays. And I hear them. I have an old CRT in the garage that I have to hook up when I move at some point in time to hook up to old systems. But I tell you, man, I'd rather play it here. All right, so there you go. That was all the games. Over Horizon, plus a good collection of the Steel Empire versions of the first game. And emulation is top-notch. All the color reproduction is good. You have a bunch of options here. You have some display options, sizing options, and then you have the ability to rewind, and there's the challenge mode as well. So yeah, if you're looking for just some old-school shmup action, I think this is an easy to recommend. Again, the base price is just $15 USD. You can get it for $13.50 if you buy it in the first week of release. So you have a couple days to think about it. For me, I highly suggest that these are both really, really fun games, and again, it's nice to see all the versions of Steel Empire in one. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream. We got a lot of games to cover today. So many releases today.